I've been weeping through them words and explain like physics, leaving your vision blurred. I'm gonna all them righteous men, there is no need to worry, cause the wicked in my way with hard deeds, fists of your ears, 30 times all day. Every day that's what I say, and I come with consciousness as my study nicely. All them crazy murderers are bound to be prey.
Okay, but these guys, these Yahweh freaks, they keep saying, oh, Yahweh, dude, Yahweh comes from the 42-letter name, from the Tetragrammaton. A tetragrammaton is a 5-pointed star, a pentagram in a circle. Ever seen that before? They keep saying, oh, Yahweh, dude, Yahweh comes from the 42-letter name. From the Tetragrammaton. A tetragrammaton is a 5-pointed star, a pentagram in a circle. Ever seen that before? Here, the Jews speak Phoenician. Of course, you already knew that because you know every fucking thing, right? The Jews speak Phoenician. They don't have their own language. Phoenicia. You ever heard of it? And they don't make blinds, asshole. So let's read it. The inhabitants of Phoenicia might at first appear to have derived their origin from the same source, pre-Abramite, as the Hebrews, for they spoke the same language. Wow, how about that? Twink, what are you doing? Let's move on.
But the most decisive confirmation of this point is to be found in ancient Hebrew coins, which were struck before the Babylonian captivity, and even engraven on all of them, are manifestly the same with the modern Samaritan. The Samaritans are, according to themselves, the descendants of the northern tribes of Israel, that were not sent into Assyrian captivity, and have continuously resided in the land of Israel. The Torah scroll of the Samaritans use an alphabet that is very different from the one used on Jewish Torah scrolls. According to the Samaritans themselves and Hebrew scholars, this alphabet is the original Old Hebrew alphabet. Even as far back as 1691, this connection between the Samaritan and the Old Hebrew alphabets was made by Henry Dodwell. The Samaritans still preserve the Pentateuch in the Old Hebrew character. Humphrey Prideaux also writes in 1799, and these 5 books of the Samaritans still have among them, written in the Old Hebrew or Phoenician character, which was in use among them before the Babylonish captivity, and in which both these and all other scriptures were written, till Ezra transcribed them into that of the Chaldeans. According to Prideaux, the Hebrew Torah, the Pentateuch, was originally written with an alphabet similar to that of the Samaritans, but after the exile in Babylon, it was transcribed with the Chaldean square alphabet, which is still used today in modern Hebrew. While Prideaux noted that the Old Hebrew alphabet was the same as the Samaritan alphabet, he also pointed out that it is identical to the Phoenician alphabet. When we compare the letters of these 3 alphabets, we can see this similarity. This is the letter Bet in the Old Hebrew, the Samaritan, and the Phoenician. Note the close similarity of each of these letters. Also, note the similarities of the letter He in each of these alphabets. The 1831 edition of the Encyclopedia Americana also makes this connection between the Phoenician, Samaritan, and Hebrew alphabets. The Hebrew's written characters were the same as the Phoenicians, to which the letters of the Samaritan manuscripts approached the nearest. The Phoenicians were a Canaanite people who lived north of the land of Israel, centered around the biblical cities of Sidon and Tyre in modern-day Lebanon, between the 16th and 3rd centuries BC. These 3 peoples, the Phoenicians, Samaritans, and Hebrews, are Shemites, descendants of Noah's son Shem. Not only do they all share the same ethnic heritage, but they all share the same alphabet. It was also evident that they all shared the same language, as the Foreign Quarterly Review wrote in its 1838 publication. The learned world had almost universally allowed that the Phoenician language was, with few exceptions, identical with Hebrew. While the origins of the Old Hebrew alphabet was widely accepted, this theory was based on a limited amount of evidence, as the Foreign Quarterly Review points out. What is left of Phoenician consists of a few inscriptions and coins. However, in the latter half of the 19th century, 3 discoveries were made that went a long way in proving this theory. The first major discovery connecting the Phoenician alphabet and language with Hebrew occurred on January 19, 1855, when Turkish laborers accidentally uncovered an ancient sarcophagus in Sidon, a Phoenician city. On this sarcophagus was a lengthy inscription written in the Phoenician alphabet and language, which was found to be identical to Hebrew with only a few exceptions. The next major discovery was the Mesha stele, also called the Moabite stone, which was discovered in 1868 in the biblical city of Dibon, the capital of the Moabites. The inscription was written with the same letters as the Phoenician, Old Hebrew, and Samaritan, and it was discovered that the Moabite language was also the same as Hebrew, with some minor variations. The Salom inscription, discovered in 1880, is written on the wall of Hezekiah's tunnel, which connects Gihon Spring to the Pool of Siloam in East Jerusalem. This Hebrew inscription was written in the same style as the Phoenician and Moabite inscriptions. During the excavation of the city of Gezer, 30 miles from Jerusalem, a limestone tablet was discovered in 1908 with a Hebrew inscription written in the Old Hebrew alphabet. In 1935, 18 ostraca, which are broken pieces of pottery, were discovered in the ancient city of Lachish, with Hebrew writing in the Old Hebrew alphabet. In 1966, an inscription was discovered in Amman, Jordan, with an Ammonite inscription whose alphabet and language was also similar to the Phoenician and Hebrew.
Experts say it is written in a Proto-Canaanite script, which they call the mother and father of every alphabetic script around the world. The archaeologist who leads the team says the text is hugely significant.
Everything about it says that this is the ancestor of the Hebrew script.
The Jews speak Phoenician. They don't have their own language. Phoenicia. Okay, so now we know that they speak Phoenician, yeah? Okay. But Yahweh's not Saturn, right? Okay, let's move on. What does this say? Let's go here. Baal is the planet Saturn. Baal is the planet Saturn. Baal is the planet Saturn. But Yahweh's not Saturn, right? Baal is also the devil. And the Mohammedites of the 12th century after Christ knew still that the Meccan, i.e. Israel, is one of the names given by the Phoenicians in the latter days to Saturn. Oh, where did I get that? From a comic book? You don't talk about the truth out of real scrolls. Jag off. Here we go. Let's move on. Between the God of the I can't pronounce it. Sorry, guys. And the God of the Apelles, there is evidently a close relationship, and also it appears with Yahweh, the Demerge of the Old Testament, Saturn, the black star. Okay, the black star. Between the God of the I can't pronounce it. Sorry, guys. And the God of the Apelles, there is evidently a close relationship, and also it appears with Yahweh, the Demerge of the Old Testament, Saturn, the black star. Between the God of the I can't pronounce it, sorry guys. And the God of the Apelles, there is evidently a close relationship, and also it appears with Yahweh, the demurge of the Old Testament Saturn, the black star. The demurge of the Old Testament Saturn, the black star. With Yahweh, the demurge of the Old Testament Saturn, the black star. Between the God of the I can't pronounce it, sorry guys, and the God of the Apelles, there is evidently a close relationship, and also it appears with Yahweh, the demurge of the Old Testament Saturn, the black star. These guys were the first Saturn worshippers. They called Saturn YHUH. Later on it got changed to Yahweh. They called Saturn YHUH. They called Saturn YHUH. Let's move on to the next bit. Yahweh's essence. Yahweh was also at an early period represented by a serpent. Oh, you mean the same one in the garden? It's not a snake, it's time, which represents Saturn. A symbol of lightning. A copper god of this sort lasted even down to the time of Hezekiah and was reputed to have been made by Moses himself. The seraphim, pictured often as surrounding Yahweh, were hardly other than the serpents representing the tortoise lightning.
the sons of God. Those are the only two modern English translations I know that do that. But the idea is that God disinherited all of the nations and abandoned them. It was a judgment. It was punitive. He says, fine, if you're not going to have me as your God and have me as your king, and we're not going to reconstitute the kingdom on earth, be gone. I'm going to give you what you want. In fact, I'm going to scatter you. I'm going to give you other languages, and I'm going to set all of you nations, you're each going to be put under the dominion now of lesser Elohim. Here's where the sons of God come in. And they become corrupt in their administration of the nations. That's why they're being judged in Psalm 82. It's exactly what it says, that they have administered the nations of the earth poorly and corruptly, and God is going to judge them. He says, I said that you were gods, but you're going to die like men because of what you've done. This is the Old Testament rationale for where we get pantheons, the gods of the other nations. Well, they are disloyal members of the divine council that God put over the nations to sentence them to worship. And God says, okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go start over. I'm going to call this guy this guy named Abraham, and I'm going to start anew. I'm going to create from nothing a new nation for myself, and through them I will reestablish my kingdom on earth. And that's why the rest of the Old Testament is the story of Yahweh against the gods of the nations and Israel against those nations.
Okay. I'd never read anything. What's this say? The astrological Saturn has always been associated with the letter of the law because Saturn is the lawgiver. That's why the men in courts wear black robes. Everybody that is an authority wears black. Cops, rabbis, judges, priests, Catholic priests, SWAT, Nazis. Rather than the spirit of the Gnostics, and the early Kabbalists identified Saturn with the God of the Old Testament. Gee whiz, who'd have seen that coming? Whom they regarded as a tyrannical father obsessed with the rigid enforcement of the laws.
Many of the most important concepts in Judaism are not mentioned explicitly in the Torah. Many of the most important concepts in Judaism are not mentioned explicitly in the Torah, but we have an oral tradition that they are part and parcel of our world view.
I have found that at the very heart and core of all these secret societies lurks the Kabbalah. The Kabbalah is the ancient Jewish mysticism. It is a method of encoding information through a system of mathematics and numbers. It is some of the most ancient knowledge that man has ever possessed and has been kept secret and given only to those who have proven themselves worthy through the process of initiation. Nobody knows where it comes from. I can tell you this, it was there long before the Jews came along. The Jews just took it and preserved it, and they passed it down, and it's used by everybody. Because it's at the heart and core of the secret knowledge, the metaphysics. These people that belong to the secret societies never dared to write down in any language what they knew, what it was that they were guarding, because then someone could steal it and then the secret would be out. So they devised secret systems of encoding the secrets of the ages, the knowledge, the hidden knowledge, the occult. So they took this knowledge and they made it occult.
And indeed, there may be very ancient symbolic link between Saturn and Yahweh. For Yahweh's Sabbath or holy day is Saturday, Saturn's day, a-hole. Enough. I've had enough of this crap.
I've been weeping through them words and explain like physics, leaving your losing blood. I've been all them righteous men, there is no need to worry, cause the wicked in my way with hard deeds, fists of your ears, 20 times all day. Every day that's what I say, and I come with consciousness as my
study nicely. All them crazy murderers are bound to be prey. I'm rock, knock, talking evil man
in no delay. I'm dropping bombs on ya, I said that to your dismay. In every single way, on each and every day I sit back, relax, listen to the music play. With the headphones on my head, higher side bob, dump and sway. Been right up into your house and I've been mobbing to your room and explain like physics, leaving your conscious to my go. Boom in the morning and the afternoon, rock times and I shine bright, so in on the moon. Oh, the man, no than the lame dojo, Jabor me, haramor, no than the lame dojo, also no la phone, back in Saturn, Paras, Mashuho, Bahabali, Abo.
Case closed.